Hey there, welcome back to Turntable Guy. People will usually ask me for turntable recommendations, and my response is usually, "Well, what are you looking for to spend?" And are you looking are you looking for a belt drive or a direct drive turntable? And if someone says, "Well, I don't want to spend a lot of money, but I want something decent, sounds good, and I'd like prefer a belt drive or whatever," the first turntable that always comes out of my mouth is the Technics SL-23. This turntable was Technics' truly first belt drive table, and it is probably their greatest belt drive turntable. They basically reached the pinnacle right off the bat and came out with this wonderful design. Um, I'll put this turntable against any modern Riga or you name what is it, Orbit or what's the other one there? Anyway, the name slips my mind, but today's turntables are basically a flat plinth with a motor and a decent tone arm, hopefully. But this table's got it all. It's beautifully manufactured. It's very heavy. It has a very good quality arm, which is both light and very rigid. And it's just a pleasure to look at and a joy to use, and most importantly, it sounds wonderful. Okay, that's the most important thing. This is one of the few Technics turntables that was actually created out of it's a pressboard material, but it is very noise canceling. It is not susceptible to vibration. Has very springy feet, as you can see. So it's nicely suspended. The platter is not, but the table itself, very springy. And these feet are now, 40 something years old, and they show zero sign of wear. So when Panasonic Techniques created this turntable, they created something that would last literally forever. But as any old piece of equipment, like any piece of old equipment, this table requires maintenance, and it has several very nitpicky areas where if you don't look after it, it will let you down. Okay, and the first thing that comes to mind is the speed pots. Okay, there and there, the pitch controls. Okay, the pots need to be cleaned, and you have to access them from the bottom. Okay, they need a squirt of deoxit or any kind of other contact cleaner you need, and sometimes you'll get a no spin situation, and that is because of the speed switch. Okay, a lot of people leave their speed switch in 33 because they don't play 45s and they never turn it to off, right? So a lot of times, if you get one of these tables and it's not spinning, it's obviously could be the belt, okay, but most likely it's the speed switch here. Okay, so just exercising it like this will sometimes loosen the crud enough to make the contacts, the connectivity come back on the contacts, and your turntable will start spinning again. But because this is such a great turntable, and this is my personal turntable, so this is not a customer table. So I thought, I haven't serviced this turntable in a couple years or so. So I thought, what the hell? Let's pull it off the shelf, and let's give it a once over and show people how to service their Technics SL-23. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you just want to loosen the screws that hold on the dust cover. Okay, just loosen them, because we're going to flip it over on its lid. So just want to loosen those a little bit. So you got the dust cover that'll come off. Okay, maybe I'll just take it off so you can see what I'm doing here. I'll put it back on when I flip it over. Okay, so also remove your 45 adapter because that goes flying once you turn it over. And let's remove our platter mat. Okay, so this is your platter here, and you can see the motor right there, and the belt is right around the motor pulley. Okay, so you can either grab it with your finger or use a pick or something and just let it go, and it should stick to the turntable. It'll, with the elasticity, it'll hold on. So just like that. Okay, so now your platter's free. All right, so like all techniques, put your 2 thumbs in there and give it a tug. It'll come right off. And then you'll be presented with your classic auto return mechanism here, your main spindle bearing, okay, and your motor. And these are several servicing points that we're going to look after here. Okay, and at this point we can definitely turn it over. So you want to put your cover back on, your dust cover, and we're going to turn it over, but we're also going to put down a cloth here just to protect the lid. I polished this one myself, so the lid's in really nice shape. Okay. Alrighty. Now, there's not a lot of screws on the bottom of this table, so we can definitely do this one together here. If you notice here, the original Technics feet, they had a kind of a cloth felt material stuck on there. Well, they've disintegrated. Okay, so I just put some. You can go to the dollar store and you can buy those furniture pad stick-ons, right, for like $1. And if you get the right size, it's great. If not, I just cut mine out here just to get it off the rubber. Okay. And once you have your screws removed, as usual, we'll just flip up our cover. And there you go. These are the guts of the SL-23. As you can see, it's a well-built turntable. Just beautifully designed. Very heavy gauge steel here, and also this massive grounding plate here, which also acts as a shield for the wiring. I'll flip that up just so you can have a look. Look at the gauge steel on that. Absolutely incredible. And all it does is it's just shielding your RCA cables and the tone arm wiring. Just a beautifully built machine. I have noticed though that you can get a failure in the cables on this turntable, and it usually happens right at the entry point on the turntable where the strain relief is. Okay, so it's relatively easy to change out cables if you do have that problem. It's just a matter of desoldering the connections at the board here. Okay, so it's really simple to change out. So we'll put that back on because we don't need that off. And I guess, just thinking here, most people have their turntable on top of their receiver, which is probably not a good idea because your receiver needs to breathe, or your amplifier. But this shield would definitely protect you from hum from the amplifier or receiver. Could, to protect from the transformer electromagnetic field. So really beautifully made. Okay, here's your arm lever for the auto return. Okay, Main motor. This is the motor speed board here. Okay. There are instances where the capacitors on this board can get dry, but I haven't noticed it. I have changed mine out just as a maintenance item. Okay. You usually do not have to change out capacitors on a turntable. Okay. The turntable is not under any kind of high power stress. Okay. Capacitors can drift in value. Okay. And now I've changed mine out. These are usually purple Panasonic branded caps. Okay. So I've changed mine out, and there's a couple speed pots here for fine pitch control. Okay, so that's another. If you're noticing that your pitch controls are a little wobbly, you can also adjust them down here. Okay. So really simple to service this machine. Everything's easily accessible. Okay, here's your main spindle. All right, we're gonna pull that out for some oiling. A couple fuses over here. This is your power supply. Main cap here. Never had an issue with this capacitor. Okay, it still measures fine. Over here is the most important part of your service. These are your two main pitch controls. Okay, and your speed selector switch. Okay, so these require service. I will guarantee you that if you get a turntable of this age, especially this model, that these pitch controls here and this speed selector switch will be in dire need of service. So let's do that now. Okay, use Geoxit this time, and you can access it a little bit through the back here if you like, or there's a couple holes here. All right, so just a squirt. And hit your switch too. Okay. And then what you want to do is just gently lift the turntable like this. And from the other side, work your pitch controls back and forth. Okay. Now they may be extremely tight. Just keep working them. Spray them again if you have to. They will loosen up. Okay. And then don't forget your speed switch. Very important. Your speed switch is what tells the motor to turn on, and if that's gummy or there's no contact there, you will get a no spin situation. So back and forth, and keep working those pitch controls. If you have dirty pitch controls, when you turn a turntable on and you look at the strobe, it will look like it's moving around or wavering. That's when you'll notice that it's dirty. Okay. All right, so next on the list is the main bearing. Okay, now to service the main bearing on this turntable, you're going to want to remove, there's a retaining screw here. Okay, so just loosen that. Okay, get it out of the way. Don't lose it. That's what holds it in. And well, why don't we turn it over so we can pull it. Okay, so now the bearing will be loose, okay, in the main spindle, and you can just pop that off like that. Okay, there is a ball bearing on the end of the spindle. Okay. And if your SL-23 or SL-20, because the SL-20 is the fully manual version of this table, okay, they're basically identical. If you pull this up and you see a thick black grease, that's the factory grease, okay? It is not necessarily bad, okay? I've noticed that grease is actually very high quality, okay? I would still change it out because it is 40 plus years old, okay, and to use something like a light machine oil or a little bit of a heavier 30 weight oil is what I would recommend, okay. So what you're going to want to do is, like I've done in the past, is get your Q-tip, get it soaked in alcohol, and clean out the bearing, okay. Get all the grease and oil out of there and make sure it's sparkling clean, okay. A little bit of alcohol on a paper towel, clean off your spindle here, okay. Let them dry for a couple minutes, all right, and then what you want to do is grab your oil, okay. I would really go with something like a 30 weight oil here, just because the original lubricant was actually a grease, okay. So what you're going to want to do is 3 or 4 drops in the main spindle bearing, okay, down the pit. All right, so just get a little bit in there, like that, and then put a little bit on your spindle like this, okay, and then put her back down. Nice thing about this is because it has that screw retaining hole, it actually relieves some of the hydraulic pressure if you've put too much, okay. And you can basically squeeze it out that hole, so you'll see it drip out. Now I've overfilled this because, like I said, I haven't serviced it in a couple years, but I haven't exactly been using this turntable. It's I do rotate it in and out of one of my audio stands, but there we go. It's down now. So I basically squeezed out the excess oil, okay. But if you overfill it, like I said, don't worry about it. It's just going to come out that little hole, but just maybe get a paper towel and just get any excess that's come out of the hole. Okay. So put our lid back on now. You're going to want to flip this over again. And no, there's no oil there. It was just hydraulic pressure. So you're going to want to put this back in. I left my short screwdriver in the garage again. But this screw is important. You start it by finger here and just work it in. It doesn't have to be super tight, okay? Make sure it's snug. Technics will put some kind of thread locker on there from the factory, okay? I don't know why. I'm not sure if they wanted to seal the oil from coming out, perhaps. If you do get too much oil, it will leak into the cardboard bottom, right? So, like I said, just grab a paper towel if you've got too much leaked out, and just clean that off. Okay. All right. So once you've done that, you've basically completed your service on an SL-23. That's all there is to it. Okay. Spray your pots 1, 2, 3. Again, you may have to adjust speed here. You can do it through the bottom. You don't have to lift this board. Okay. And other than that, you know, there's really not that much to grease up. Everything's very easy to do. Put your bottom back on. I'm not sure if those two speed, they're not accessible through the holes, but they're still pretty. All I have to do is take this bottom panel off, and it's very accessible. And then you can put the turntable on a little stand and adjust while you've got the table spinning. And to do that, you want to center your 2 outboard pitch controls and then adjust on that little motor board. And that's the bottom service, okay? The only thing left is the motor. So when I bought this this SL-23 and I brought it home, when I turned on the motor by moving the arm forward, this made a nasty howling sound, and it was also, it was kind of scraping, kind of howling. It didn't sound good. Okay, very easy to rectify. Okay, all you need to do is grab yourself some of your 3-in-1 oil. Okay, put a drop right at the base of the motor spindle, and then turn on your turntable, let it spin, and you should almost instantaneously hear that noise go away. All right. Let's just plug this in here. Alrighty, so all you need to do is move your arm over, make sure your speed selector is on 33 or 45, and let it spin. I mean, let it spin for a little while, and it should get better. If it's not, or if you do hear it getting better, but then it kind of stops, give it another drop of oil. Okay, you're going to want to let that oil soak in to the top bearing of that motor. And as you can hear here, or not hear, this one's completely silent. All right, so that's your motor service. Here's your auto return, engaging. Okay, so motor's done. Last thing you're going to want to do, as always, is clean two items where your belt rides. Okay, so grab a Q-tip, a little bit of alcohol, you can move your arm over again, just let it ride on the pulley here. Okay, so what you're doing is cleaning off any excess grease or belt residue on the pulley. Okay, just clean that off until it's shiny. If it's really bad, or if a belt has died in the turntable and left a whole bunch of residue that just won't come off with the Q-tip, grab a little bit of like 1000 grit sandpaper. You can put a little bit of alcohol on this, and then hold it against the pulley, okay, with the sandpaper, and that will polish it and remove all the gunk. Lastly, you want to grab your platter, okay, and with a paper towel soaked in alcohol, you want to clean this inner ring where the belt rides. Okay, make sure that is sparkling clean. Again, a belt may have died against this, and you may have to use a more aggressive cleaning solution, or even a 3M Scotch Brite pad sometimes works really well to get that off. You can also, if it's really bad and stuck on, you can get a razor blade, okay, and just gently scrape that off and then clean the rest of it with either alcohol or something a little bit more powerful to get that belt off. Okay, but once that's clean and this is clean, you should have no problems with your belt. Okay, this is a brand new belt. I believe the SL-23 uses a standard 23.6 inch belt. Maybe that's why it's called the SL-23. Probably not, but it just happens to be a 23.6 inch belt. And how you put that on. There we go. All right, you're going to want to wrap that around your inner ring. You'll know you have the right size belt if it's just snug, right? To the point where when you let go of it, it holds on to the ring so it doesn't fall off. But you don't want it so tight, right, that when you put it around, you know, the motor, it pulls the motor pulley in. That's the last thing you want. So the belt's got to be snug but not too tight. That's when you know you got the right belt. Okay. So you're going to want to flip it over. I usually grab it grab it with my thumb. Put your platter back on and just You just want to stretch your belt just a little bit and get it around the pulley, and then you know you're in good shape here when your turntable starts spinning. Oh, and mine immediately jumped off the pulley. There we go. Great. All right. So once you've done that, put your platter mat back on. This is another thing with these tables. This chrome ring here, this decorative ring, it always comes off because it's not glued down. You can put a little bit of Elmer's white glue or something. That'll hold it down. I don't care. I just leave it loose. It's not a big deal. All right. So once you've done that, you can set your anti-skating and set your vertical tracking force. This particular turntable, this has got the original head shell, which I really like. And I've got a Shure M70EJ, which was a budget cartridge back in the day, but really good sounding. And I have the original stylus for this. I have a brand new original in the box. I'm not using it. This is actually a Jiko from Japan, which is a seriously high quality aftermarket stylus. You can't get any better than Jiko. Alright, so I should tell you about the alignment. Classic Technics alignment on this. Okay, just 52 millimeters from the tip of the diamond stylus to the gasket on the head shell. Okay, that's your alignment. If you have a Technics alignment tool, you can use that as well, but it's just as easy to put your cartridge on. This is the one screw system, and then move this back and forth until you have a 52 millimeter alignment. Okay, head shell goes on. Your weight, balance your tone arm, set your tracking force. You guys know how to do that. Set your anti-skate at whatever your tracking force is. This one's 2 grams. I have this set for. Okay, and we'll just we'll set the speed here since we mucked around with the pitch controls. Stable. Sorry for my hand, I can't see the light there. I don't know if you can see that or not, probably not. But that's 33 right on the money. That's 45 right on the money. And why don't we plug it in and hear it make noise. I would have absolutely no reservations on using this turntable in a serious audiophile system. None. You could put a higher quality cartridge on it, obviously, but I really have 0 reservations. That's how good these are. And the other good thing about it is most people don't want a Technics belt drive. Technics is mostly known for its direct drive turntables, quartz lock and otherwise. So these are kind of under the radar, and I highly recommend that if you're looking for something that's not going to break the bank, it's within budget, this is a turntable you need to be looking for, or the SL-20, which is basically the same table without the auto return. Okay, absolutely phenomenal. And let's hear what she sounds like. Phono here. Gotta be careful. My batteries are dying on my remote control.
And at night we dance, not fight. We need the Where's the show?
Now I flip this over on its side, so you probably, oh no, there it goes. Sometimes you have to cycle the auto return to get it going, but that's it. She'll come back and she'll shut off and everything's awesome. That, my friends, is the Technics SL-23. If you are having issues with your auto return not going at the right spot, there's a screw right here under this hole, okay, where you can adjust that, bring it a little bit sooner or a little bit later. I cannot say enough good things about this turntable. It is absolutely a wonderful table. Again, I will put it against any modern turntable. The brand I was thinking of there when I got stuck was Project. So Project, Riga, any of the current, mid-priced belt drives from Europe, I will put a SL-23 against them any day. Build quality is that good. And the most important thing is that they're super, super reliable, but they require those minor services that we did here today. Okay, deoxing, bearing service, motor service, obviously a new belt if required, and that's it. This will run forever. This could be your only turntable. It may be the only turntable you ever need, the only turntable you'll ever have any desire for once you hear it. I'll guarantee that. It's that good. Okay. So anyway, I want to thank you for joining me again here. We're still in lockdown where I live, so I haven't had any customer turntables coming in. I'm hoping that's going to resume a little bit later this month. I think it's May the 6th here today, so I believe our lockdown will be over in the latter half of May, and a good portion of the population here is getting vaccinated. I'm going myself tomorrow for my first vaccine, so once we all get vaccinated, then we'll open up the doors and have some guys drop off some tables again, and we'll get going on them. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time, and have a good day. Thanks. Bye-bye.